with American songwriter, we had the opportunity to talk to Jodi and Stef from Mise En Scene.
Adam was able to talk to Jodi and Stef from Mise En Scene over Zoom audio. Jodi started drumming at an early age, whereas Stef didn't pick up a guitar until much later in life. Jodi and Stef told us about how they met, the first show they ever played together, and the new Mise En Scene album, Winnipeg, California.
Make sure to check out our YouTube channel and Facebook page at Bringing It Backwards and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Bringing Back Pod.
We'd appreciate your support if you follow and subscribe to our podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're Bringing It Backwards with Josie and Stef from Mise En Scene. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hi, Jodi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Life is good. Where are you calling us from right now?
I'm in San Diego, California.
Oh,
How's
nice.
it going over there? You guys got fires?
Yeah, well, we had one here, and then they were able to get it out, so that was cool. But yeah, it's still really smoky in the air. Northern California is still pretty bad, unfortunately.
Oh, brutal. It's so sad. We actually it's cloudy where we are right now. Well, it was yesterday. It's fine now, but we had it for the last 2 days, actually, the smoke all the way over here, which is crazy.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
weird. Yeah, really, really weird. Sorry, I didn't catch your name. What's your name?
Adam.
Adam. Hey, Adam.
Yeah, so our podcast is about your guys' journey in music and how you got to where you are now.
Awesome.
Cool. All right, yeah, so well, how about Stef? How about you tell me about where you grew up?
Well, I grew up in Winnipeg, and I would actually summer in a small town called Gimli, which is just north of Winnipeg, an hour north on Lake Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it's Gimli, like the Icelandic character in Lord of the Rings. It's an Icelandic town. I'm of Icelandic descent, and so is Jodi. And Jodi actually lived in Gimli, grew up there, and now actually we've switched spots. So I'm actually living in Gimli now, and she's living in Winnipeg.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, but we're both Manitoba girls of Icelandic descent with ties to Gimli. So that's where we are.
Right on. And then Jodi, how did you get into music?
I guess living in Gimli, it's a very, very, very small town, and it's very cold, and there's not too much to do there. So it was kind of like always a choice between like doing sports or doing music. And so yeah, I just got super into music when I was like 8 years old, and then did the band program and jazz band and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I just spent most of my time practicing and playing drums.
Drums are just your first and only instrument?
First and only, yeah.
How old are you when you picked drums up?
I was 8 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm,
Did you have
it was
lessons
crazy.
or did you just start smashing on them?
Well, it's actually kind of a funny story. I have a twin sister, and I asked for drums for my birthday, and she asked for a PlayStation. So I got drums and then started just playing along to recordings. At the time, I was very into Hanson and Blink-182.
Oh yeah, love it.
Yeah, played along to them a bunch. And I didn't start taking lessons until I was a bit older, but I definitely found playing along to recorded music super helpful, because as a drummer, it's super important to be able to play to a click track or to play in time. So I think it's always a great thing for drummers to start by playing along to recordings.
Really? That's good. Well, it's funny because I have a 5-year-old son, and we got him, or 4, sorry, and we got him drums, like an electric kit during this quarantine.
Nice.
And he's like, I'm just trying to teach him how to hit the kick and then the snare, and he just smashes around on them. So
yeah. Well, one day he'll take a turn. Because for me too, when I first started, I feel like drums, you like hit certain breakthroughs at certain levels, and it kind of keeps you interested. But yeah, it always takes a while to kind of figure everything out.
yeah, so that's good to know. I'll have him play to some stuff, because I can't. I mean, I can kind of keep a beat, but Other than that, I'm no drummer, so that's cool.
I can barely play tambourine, so there you go.
Yeah.
So whenever we record and I like try and do tambourine, they're like, just get off the tambourine.
Well,
Like,
and
somebody
the
else
funny
needs to do
thing,
this.
Steph, the funny thing about that is we had a Fleetwood Mac cover band, like played like a cover set in Winnipeg. There's a bands, and so Steph was Stevie Nicks, so she had to kind of master the craft of playing tambourine and singing. And I thought you did pretty good in the end, but yeah, that's not easy.
It's all about your hips and just, you know,
That's your
throwing
first
everything
problem.
out the window.
It's not all about your hips, but
See, that's why I'm not allowed to record Tambo. Even whenever we do claps on songs, the producers, I can tell, are so annoyed with me. I'm like, I think I'm in time, but I think that's the problem, is that I think I am, and I guess I'm like a millisecond off, and that's just not good enough. So whatever, I'm fine to sit this out.
That's funny. Well, how did you get into music, Steph?
Oh, I didn't get into music till way later. It's kind of crazy. So Jodi and I are very yin and yang in a lot of things in our lives, and how we got started is definitely one of them. I was like an athlete in high school, and I went to university to play volleyball, and so that was kind of my main thing. I was focused on athletics growing up, but I always wrote poetry. I was really like, I loved music. Like which teenager doesn't love music, you know?
Mhm.
So, but like the lyrics and how you would write things always really like meant something to me. And like whenever I had a journal, like I never had a diary that was like, dear diary, today I got a C in debate and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I would never do that ever. It would be like it would be a poem of my feelings, my teenage angsty feelings about what some bitch said to me that day or whatever. And I was like so mad, or like about a crush or whatever. And that's how I would express myself. And it was just always something I did. I just always wrote poetry. And then when I was at university in Montreal, and when I eventually like stopped playing because I hurt my rotator cuff, and I was like, I don't want to keep doing this. So when I was not playing sports anymore, I had a lot of time on my hands, and I was getting a little bit stir crazy, and my parents got me an acoustic guitar for my birthday. So I was like 20 years old when I picked up a guitar, and I just taught myself how to play, like Jodi, in the same way how like you like learned tempo and like staying in time and BPMs and all that, like through playing to recorded music. Like Ultimate Guitar taught me how to play guitar. I just like played my favorite songs. I'd sing along to them and all that stuff. And then eventually I just started applying. I started noticing like, you know, oh, capo, and then the same chords pretty much in every song, the same handful of chords. And I'm like, oh, I can do this. And then I started switching the chords up, playing along with where my voice felt comfortable. And then I just put that poetry to music. And then that's how I started. Then I started doing open mic nights in Montreal. They'd give you a free pint. You get a free pint. That's why I'd go. Like I'd get a free beer. So, but I'd like barf every time before I played, and like I was shaking, and I was like so afraid. I took it so seriously, and yeah, so that's where I started. And then I met Jodi, and then we just started playing music together, and that was the end of it. Now we're still doing it.
So this project is the first one you've ever been a part of? Like no.
For me, yeah. For me, yeah. Jodi wasn't. Well, actually, Jodi, you can go explain your first band.
Yeah, let's hear about it. Your first experience playing with people.
well, I was kind of a punk kid in high school, so I had
She had a rooster haircut. You should see the photos.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I tried to look like Johnny Thunders. Like I loved the New York Dolls. I loved the Addicts. I loved the Buzzcocks. So that was kind of my inspo. But my sister, so I made her get a guitar a few years later. And then my good friend, she played bass. We also played in the jazz band. We were the rhythm section. But we had like, a punk band. I'm not going to tell you the name because it's
oh my God, tell them the name.
It's a bit much.
Tell them the name.
It was called Pap Smears.
You have
the
to
Pap
tell
Smears.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I was like literally like I think 12 when we started this band, or 11. Didn't know what it meant.
I named you guys like an older brother.
Well, we came up with it, but we just didn't really know what it meant. And so that's the name we went by. We got to play in the bars when we were 16. We drove to the city out from Gimli. So music's kind of always been, but Steph, me and Steph have been doing this for 10 years now. So
when you'd get booked as a 16-year-old with that band, when you showed up, were the people pretty shocked?
Our parents had to come with us. We would mostly do pubs, and our parents would have to come. But people were.
But like the booker would probably look at the name and be like, and then look up at you guys and be like, what? Like,
No,
little girls are.
I think they all kind of knew. I think it was kind of funny, but yeah, it was
Okay.
good.
Yeah. But it's a good punk band name. Like, you know,
That
it's always
is.
kind of things like that. I'm like, right on. Even though it's like you didn't really know what it was, probably hadn't had one yet, and like, but you're still called that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, how did the
Yeah,
two of you guys meet?
Well, we met in Gimli. We were both working in the same building. I was working at a film festival, and Jodi was working at a museum. And we were actually both in arts. Oh, we were both going to art school, so we started painting and stuff together. We did lots of photography and painting, and we'd like share canvases and stuff. So we've always been very creative together. We can kind of do everything creative together very easily. We just speak the same visual creative language, I guess. And then one day we just started playing, and it just came so easy. It was so easy to play, and it was great because I think we really challenged each other in a way that we both maybe weren't used to. Like for me at least, like Jodi really brought the rock to what I was doing, and like really like always brought up the BPM. She's a punk drummer, she can't help herself, like she's gonna do that. So like the BPM always jumped up a lot, but then it forced me to kind of like sing in a different way and like understand my songs in a different way, because otherwise I was being really like, you know, very emotional, introspective acoustic songs. And trust me, my songs are way more interesting now that Jodi's on them. So because now it's more like it's rock, it's, you know, there's pop sensibility, it's just fun, it has that life to it. So for me, like that was like that really changed the way that I write. And then now I write with like her in mind. Sometimes I try really hard to like bring it up to the BPM where I think she wants it to be at. And I'm always wrong. She always makes it faster. I always think I'm doing it fast and it's not. But yeah, so that's how we got together. And then we just it's always just been really good. It's always been really easy. And because we have such different influences, it's been really great because we're very open to each other's natural instincts and our inspirations. We let each other like bring whatever inspiration we have, and we don't judge it. We just like bring it in, because the more you're bringing in, the more it turns into something new, if that makes sense. You know, you're always kind of building off of something from the past anyway. So, because you can't pretend the Beatles don't exist, you know, like you can't pretend that Let It Be was never written, you know, like so there's all these songs and that are in your like personal history that sometimes come out consciously and subconsciously. And so when you just like allow that to happen, and then you bring these two people together doing it, then it turns into a thing all of its own sound. So yeah.
So you guys, once you started writing songs together, did you start getting shows? Like, what was first? Did you go to the studio and record a demo?
Jodi, what did happen? I think we played like not even a handful of shows, because at that point I was living in Halifax, and then I came back to like, you know, do the music full time with Jodi, and then we both dropped out of art school and just became a band. And then we started playing shows locally, and I guess that's when we just started working on recording at that point, I think. And then things just started happening all of a sudden. It's like we released this like great record. We had like a bunch of great producers on it, and we're like, oh, we have enough for a record. Sweet, let's just put it out. And then we got all these opportunities for festivals, and next thing we know, we're flying all over the place and doing all these things. And then we do another record, and then we get a label deal, and then we do another record, and that's this one that we're talking about right now. So it's like, you know, it's like, whoa, you blink and then life just happens, you know? So it's been quite a journey. It's been like, you know, it's been a lot of hard work, and definitely some of the funniest times, the best times, the most fulfilling times, some difficult times, of course. It's not an easy job. So yeah.
Wow.
But Steph, our first show we ever played was, we played some cover songs at a Canada Day party in someone's backyard in Gimli.
Oh yeah, that was. And my sister was singing backups, and we had another girl on keyboard, and yeah, that was interesting. That was like 3 songs, and it was like the scariest show of our lives. It
was all covers, or you played 3 originals? Oh, really?
I think they were all covers. Hey, Joe?
I think so, yeah.
Do you remember what songs you covered?
We definitely did Camera Obscura. Have you ever heard of that Scottish band, Camera Obscura? They're
I have
so
not.
good. French Navy is the one that we covered for sure. French Navy by Camera Obscura. And then I can't remember the other ones. Maybe Starman by David Bowie, probably.
Okay.
Because we love Bowie. I can't remember though. That's so funny. We should try and find out, Joe.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, once you put out that first record, what you said you got like festival gigs, like how did that all kind of start rolling for you? Were you just playing a lot around the area?
Well, yeah, we just played around the area, but like we just started like we applied for things, right? And this, I guess, was, I don't know, I guess like they judge it based on the merit of the music. A lot of these festivals would do it based on that, and
You just send like a
we just
press kit or
applied,
something?
like, yeah, we just like applied for things. Like, so we played Primavera Sound in Barcelona, and we played Big Sound in
Wow.
Australia. We played Liverpool Sound City. We played Reeperbahn in Germany a bunch of times. We played in Paris. We've played South by Southwest. Like, we just got into all these festivals and literally just toured the world for a couple years, and
Oh
then
my
got back in
gosh.
the studio, did another one, and then did that all again. And now we're on this record. So it's just kind of, we just kind of applied, and like we got in. And I'm not trying to downplay, like, obviously the music spoke for itself. But yeah, I think a lot of it is just like throwing your hat in the ring, you know, like Wayne Gretzky says, you guys, you miss 99% of the shots you don't take. So,
There you go.
you know, that's, and you just kind of like go for it and just see what sticks and just say yes as much as you possibly can. That's kind of what happens.
Yeah. That's interesting that you were able to get on like these shows in different countries and stuff, like these big festivals.
Yeah.
Like, as an unsigned band, was that difficult to get out to these shows? Like, how were you able to navigate, you know,
Like getting out there, you mean? Like
getting out there, and then like if you're an independent band with no label, like getting out, you get to the festival. Like, how do you get there? How do you get all your gear there? How do you,
right.
you know what I mean? There's
Well,
probably a lot of logistics there.
It's a nightmare.
It was hard. It was really hard.
It's hard. But luckily, like, you know, we're Canadian and we have a really wonderful grant system here. We have a national grant system, and then we also have provincial grant systems and funding bodies. So, so going to a festival, like a showcasing festival like South by Southwest, The Great Escape, Big Sound, or Reeperbahn, you can apply for showcase grants. So it's like, hey, we got into this showcase. You know, this is how many people we're taking. This is what we're trying to do around it. Blah blah blah. You try and add a few shows. If you can add more shows, you can try and apply for a tour grant. And it's just it's money that they invest into their creative communities. So if you get them, and like if you're going to something like that, that's a very impressive thing to go to. So they're likely to fund you, right? So yeah, but we're very lucky to like live in a country that recognizes the importance of like supporting and developing young artists in the like in all genres, in all realms of the creative world. And yeah, it allows us to kind of go everywhere, which is great. And it's always awesome being like one of the Canadian bands at places, especially in Germany. They love Canadian bands there. Like the Canada House at South by Southwest is always packed because because like we fund so much music in Canada that we really do have like an excellent quality of like, we don't have to have a really rich uncle pretty much to like support us. You know, it seems like there's a lot of funders, like private funders, that happens a lot, it seems like, in the States. And I'm totally just saying that out of people I kind of know and see, but in Canada, it's not that. Like, you listen, it won't help if there's someone who wants to fund you. That's going to be helpful, of course, even in Canada. But for those who don't have that, like, it really kind of evens the playing field in that respect. So it's like, if you're a really great songwriter, but you've got, you know, you're down and out, you know, it's like your life could be a movie, you know, and it's like, you just have these grants that you can apply for. And if they believe in what you're doing, and it's all juried, it's all that kind of stuff. And if you know, pass the bill, like if you like do really well on the grant, then you can like really get some legs up, which can get you in front of people that can help you get label deals, sync deals, publishing, whatever you're looking for.
That's awesome. Yeah. I know Canada is really cool with that. And same with New Zealand. They're really good about supporting the the arts.
Yeah.
As where here,
Yeah.
they, they wouldn't give you money to try to do a band.
Yeah, it's so interesting how like yeah, it's very interesting. Well, you guys are so like there's so many people there. It's just I don't know how you would be able to do it. Like I don't know
Yeah,
how that would
I don't.
work, but yeah.
And there's so many people that want to be, I mean, I'm sure there's the same in Canada, but I feel like
Mhm.
here it's like everyone thinks they're like a star already. And it's like,
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I guess like in that respect, you hope that like because it'll just weed out the people who I don't know. Like I always feel like the music industry does a pretty good job of weeding out people who,
Yeah.
unless they're like backed by tons of money. That's the thing. Is like if you've got tons of money, it's like you can really be successful at whatever you want to do. If you've got someone
Sure.
financially backing you, you can be really successful at anything.
Yeah,
So
because
it's
you can
like
pay for the top of
yeah,
everything. Yeah.
yeah, and you could invest in it and and do all that, right? But at the end of the day with music, like the song is always king. So if you can have lots of money behind you, you can have the best producers in the world, like unless you're getting like the best songwriters in the world and the best people singing the songs for you, which pretty much puts you like not even in the band at all at that point.
Right.
But
Yeah.
like but like you could find a way to do that, but I think the music industry is pretty good at like weeding out like what's inauthentic. And because I think at the end of the day, when you listen to a song, you want to listen to a song that like just like reaches into your body and just like lives there. It's like it just like connects to a piece of you that maybe you haven't thought about in a while, or that's speaking to you right in that exact moment. But it's just something that takes you somewhere. And no matter and that's where like that songwriting process is so important. That's why it's so imperative, and that's why it's the thing that like some of these songs last forever and ever and ever, even a one-hit wonder, because
Mhm.
that one song like just touched millions and millions of people. So that's where I think sometimes like, yeah, you can look really cool, you can have a lot of money, you can get all the best of everything, but if your song isn't good enough, like it's just not gonna be good enough.
Right. Yeah. I completely agree with you. You could have the best gear in the world and the best people around you, but if the song sucks, then
Yeah,
no one's
it doesn't
gonna go.
matter. It just doesn't matter. Yeah, it's just like
Wow. It's interesting how that it is. Well, tell me about your. Okay, so you put out that first record. You were able to still do these big shows and these festivals, and then you said you came back and wrote another record, and that's the album that ended up getting you signed. Tell me about that process.
Jodi, do you want to take this one? Are you there, Jodi?
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
It's just, yeah, the last record, I guess it was something that we took a really long time to make. We actually recorded it twice. We worked really hard. Yeah. So it's kind of weird looking back on that one because things didn't totally go according to plan with that. But yeah, throughout all of that, we finally ended up with something we were super happy with and ended up getting our label deal with Light Organ. They're the most amazing label ever. They help us out so much with everything and just stand behind everything we're doing. And they've allowed us to create a lot of our own content, do our own videos, and just have total creative control. So I think the big learning thing that we went through on the last record was just kind of finding out how to work on a project and maintain control over everything without getting lost in the shuffle of like having a producer and a photographer and makeup artist and all of this stuff. It's kind of overwhelming when you think of all the moving pieces, but I think that record was just kind of a big learning experience and kind of allowed us to just get to where we are now with this one.
Yeah. And we were sorry, I was just gonna say when we got the label deal, actually we were playing a festival in Canada. It's called Canadian Music Week. It's in Toronto, and it's so funny. We'd been there so many times and we almost didn't go, and we went, and that's how we were discovered. So there was a label head there and they saw us and they're like, I want this band. And then we went out for breakfast 2 days later, and then we signed a contract like 2 weeks after that. So and so they like got the new record, and then we did the whole release with them. And yeah, so I guess the other thing too that's really great is like you never really know when like someone from the industry is going to just like show up and just kind of present themselves to you. Obviously you have to make sure things are the right fit, but it's it's always when you least expect it, like we never thought anything would come of this and of this festival. And we actually played with Sunflower Bean on that show, which was like a really great show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and that's where that's the show where we got an agent there too, and yeah, it was great. Just like that one show, like everyone was into it, so we got signed. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So did you have that record already completed before you signed the deal, or did you?
Yeah, so for that one, yeah, so that's how that one worked. So it was, we had the record ready to go, and we were kind of like quote unquote shopping it around. So like seeing if there's any label interest around it, or any team members from the industry that were interested in like helping us with it.
Mhm.
And yeah, and then we happened to be at this festival. They saw us. We were playing all the new stuff, and they loved us. And then we're like, well, we've got a record ready to go. And then the rest is history. And so what's great
Wow.
about this one is like we've been able to work from start to finish with them on this one, which is like really great. So it feels even more cohesive, because with that, it's like signing to a label is awesome, but it's like all your dreams are coming true, you know. But it's also like a huge shift in terms of the way that you work now, because now there's way more people involved and invested, and there's just more people that need to okay things. You have to like plan things a little bit more in advance because you need so much more input from everybody else. So it was definitely a learning curve, I think, like to speak to what Jodi was saying, like it's a big learning curve in terms of now you're working with a bigger team. So you have to learn how to like keep it authentic to you and your project and your vision and the message of the album, et cetera, while also working with people who also have ideas and who like know really like certain parts about the industry that we don't know about, right? So we're learning as well as we're like, you know, figuring out what the best way to handle a music video or, you know, premiere or whatever. So it's definitely interesting.
That is, and then so with this new record, you haven't released the whole album yet, have you?
No,
Okay.
that's on October 9th.
I thought so. So the most recent song you just put out was High School Feeling?
Yeah, that had today. That came out today. Yeah.
Oh,
High
awesome.
School Feeling. Yeah, I'm so pumped on this one. I think it's the high school time. It's school time, so it's perfect timing.
Yeah, I love that like the videos that you were posting on Instagram and stuff, like where you have the braces and like you're in the basketball court. Yeah. Tell me about that. That's gonna be the music video?
Yeah, that's out today too. So definitely check that out when you're done here. But like, yeah, so we actually went to the Gimli High School, Jodi's old stomping grounds.
Oh.
And I think Jodi was a little bit, when we first walked in, she's like, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing back here?
Was that weird being back, Jodi?
Oh yeah, it felt really weird. It felt weird. Like my grad photos are still in the hallway there. So
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was really cool though. But yeah,
was it any different than
Oh
when you
yeah,
went
they've
there?
done so many upgrades. I'm like, what the heck? The band room, they have like a pretty much airplane hangar now for the band room. I'm like, what the heck is this?
Jodi's upset.
My band room started in the basement in like a closet basically. So the kids now are getting luxury.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you went there to shoot the video?
Fun. Yeah, it was so fun. So we took like 5 hours and we did everything ourselves. And we really wanted to get into the school before school started, right? So we filmed this in August, and you know, kids are coming back to school. Nobody knows what's happening with COVID. No one knows how long they're gonna last in there. So like we're obviously not taking any chances, and like we don't want to be there anytime the kids are gonna be there. So we made sure to do that like in mid-August. And we had we were so lucky, like living in a small town, like everyone kind of knows you by at least 1 degree of separation at the most probably. And so we just like got in touch with the principal. She's like, yeah, no problem, come on down. She showed us around. She showed us some ideas that she had for where it could go, where the music video could be, and it was awesome. And she let us in on a Sunday and said, let me know when you're done. And
wow.
So we spent 5 hours in there, and it was so fun. It was really fun. We had a really good time. Yeah, we had these fake braces that we made, and we had cheerleading pom-poms. Jodi and I had never been cheerleaders in our lives, but now we can say we have been cheerleaders, so that's fun. And yeah, so we just tried to do like the stereotypical like just teenager in a high school kind of thing, those kind of images that you would see in a movie.
Mhm.
And yeah, so that's it. It's pretty straightforward, but it was so fun to do. It was just a blast making it.
Yeah, the braces that you guys use they look real. It's
I
crazy.
know. Okay, can I tell you what they are? It's so simple. I just literally looked this up, and like I think WikiHow showed me how to do this. It's the back of earrings. Ladies who are listening, you understand what I'm gonna say here. You know how you push back those pushback earrings where they kind of look like butterfly things? Anyway, that's the back of those with a picture hanger wire, and you push them in and glue them together, and then you just put it into like the shape of like your mouth, and then connect, like hook them on the back teeth. So
Oh my
simple.
gosh.
They don't stay. Like they
Right.
don't stay. Like you couldn't say a word with them on, but
But
the
they
pictures
look
are
good.
hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look retro.
That's cool. That's so funny.
Mhm.
That's awesome. So that just came out today.
Yeah.
And then is the next thing it's going to be a full record, right? What you're going to
Oh
put
yeah.
out?
10
Okay.
songs. 10 amazing songs. And it was so hard to pick a single for like singles for this, because seriously, I truly believe that every single song could be a single. And I'm not just saying that. Everyone who has listened to this record also agrees. It's been hard picking which ones to put out, really, because it's been we wrote 50 songs, we demoed
Whoa.
25, and we recorded 10. So there are the songs that weren't on the record that didn't make it. There's like I think 3 or 4 really good ones that should have still been on the record. You know, like we weren't picking from like what's the least shitty ones. It was like, oh my God, how do we make a well-rounded record with like diversity, different vibes, different moods, different inspirations, different genres, and how do we make that a coherent piece, an album that makes sense. And then that's what was so hard, is leaving some of those behind that are still so good, and I really hope we record them one day because I'm still thinking about them. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
Wow.
you're
50
getting
songs though. That's crazy.
we went through a huge like creative burst. Like it was insane. Like some of these songs that are on the record are like they're 5 or 10 minute songs where I sat down with a guitar, hummed a long verse and chord progressions, and then quickly and then just sang out lyrics, and those are the ones that stuck. And I don't know how that happened, but we were just creating so much at that point that literally that's how easy it was at one point. We were just writing in like so fast, song, and they were good. Like they weren't even shitty ones; they were good ones. So it was like, what the heck, like. So we just kind of kept going with it, and we ended up doing 2 rounds of demos because of that. Because the first one we did 15 demos, and then we kept writing, and we're like, we got to do at least another 10. And so because there were so many good ones on the second after we did the first round of demos, we're like, we need to do more because we're writing so much right now. We have to just like keep capitalizing on this. We can't
Mm-hmm.
if there's one thing we've realized, you don't want to hold on to things. You don't want to like wait for things. You don't want to think like, oh, let's not demo this song. We'll just do it on the next album. It's like, that's never going to happen. That song will probably never make it, which is why I'm like, oh, these songs might never make it. But yeah,
Oh,
anyway.
Because you don't want because they're old now, right? Is that what you're
Mhm.
thinking? Yeah, like
They're old now. And like, it's amazing how like as like musical tastes change in music and how all that happens, it actually affects the way that you write in a way that sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's not. But you find that you just don't connect with that one anymore, so why record it?
Sure. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. And with this new album, like how do you feel about putting these songs out during the lockdown that we're in?
Oh God, I don't know. You could have never asked. Like I could have never guessed that this was going to happen.
Sure.
Like holy. We were supposed to release a record in June, and we had to just pause, like straight up, just pause. I think we had 1 single out, and yeah, Angel was out because that was out in March. We were supposed to be at Treefort Music Fest, couldn't go.
Oh,
Borders closed, everything like that. So huge bummer. We were so excited about that festival. But yeah, so we had to just fully pause and just figure things out. We had to kind of like let the dust settle a little bit too.
mhm.
Even though it's like it's still kind of going on at the same rate, it feels like, but like the world's kind of found a little bit of its own normal at this point, I think. So it's been good for us to be able to kind of do it at this point. But Yeah, it was really hard, like because touring isn't really a thing that we can do right now. So, um, yeah, it's really just about content. It's about releasing songs and really hoping that people love the music, And, since we wrote this before the pandemic, it's not really like a depressing um, album. It's a very kind of upbeat, energetic album. So I hope that people take that and get inspired by that and feel empowered and upbeat and excited and happy when they hear it, because everything else is so shitty in the world. So I hope that they take the music and they're like, yeah, right on. I need this because everything else sucks.
I love that. Yeah, for sure. Have you guys done live streams or any of that, or any interest in that?
No, we haven't. Mainly because I don't know. I don't really want to, because Jodi's in Winnipeg and I'm in Gimli. Like, we're only an hour away from each other, but it's kind of hard to do it, I find, plugged in. I don't know. I haven't really heard someone do a good job yet. And I don't mean to throw shade there. I'm just saying it's hard to sound good on these things, I think, unless you're doing like acoustic stuff. And I don't know. I want to rock out, man. I don't want to play acoustic guitar right now. I want to play electric guitar and rock out really hard and, wail and see Jodi slamming on her drums. And we're gonna need like an engineer to help us with that if we're gonna do it. So I don't know, Jodi, what do you think? You think we should do some live stuff?
I feel like since we are like releasing brand new material, I wouldn't want the first time people hear it live to be over a live stream.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so I think that's mostly where I'm at. I would rather, like, when we finally get to do it live, I want to do it right with, like, the full band and not like a stripped down version. Like, we can do that down the line, but yeah, for its debut, I think for people to hear the new stuff for the first time, it needs to be either, if we do it live stream, it needs to be like good quality, and we do need to have like an engineer and like proper sound and stuff, or we just wait till we can kind of do something more live.
Sure. Yeah. That makes sense, especially for songs that you don't want to debut a song that's not going to sound like that on the record. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to play any of the songs? Like, were you guys touring when the COVID?
No, the COVID. Yeah, no.
We've played some though. Like, we've had shows where we've played the songs, and we have an awesome band like ready to go. So it kind of sucks that we weren't able to do the whole touring thing, but
yeah. Well, these songs are just like dying to like be played loud and live. They're fun, and it's sad. They're really fun to play, and it's sad. Yeah, it's very sad. But hopefully one day we'll be able to kind of like figure something out where we can do like maybe like a proper live stream at a venue. I've been noticing that some people have been doing that, which is great because you're working with like sound guys and like excellent tech and everything like that. So that might be something we want to do down the road, like as a way to like celebrate the album. But yeah, it's crazy. It's a little bit more work now, because it's like, okay, we need to get camera people. We need to book them. Like, it's a little bit of it's different than just setting up a tour or setting up just a show, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how we figure that out.
Yeah, there's even more moving pieces now, and less people that can attend. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you so much for having us. It's a pleasure. Anytime.
I have one more question I want to ask you guys. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Oh, yes, we do. We have so much advice. Jodi and I were actually talking. We were talking about that the other day, actually. Well, Jodi, why don't you go first on this? Why don't you tell us your advice?
Well, I think one of the best pieces of advice that was given to Stef and I was the ones who really make it are the ones who quit last and just persevere and keep going. I find that like music, you kind of experience the highs and you experience really low lows, and a lot of the time an artist will stick with it for all the good times, and then as soon as something bad happens, they quit. So it's about just persevering through those tough times as well and not giving up on that. That's what I would say.
Yeah, definitely. That is so true. Like, that's like the first thing I would say to someone. The second thing I would say, like, if they want like my uncensored opinion, it would be, because normally I'm very enthusiastic and very encouraging, and I will always encourage people to do what they're doing. But on a serious note, there's a huge difference between a hobby and a job. And if you want music to be a job, you have to understand that like every job in the world, there are annoying things you have to do. There's boring tasks you have to do. There's admin work you have to do. There's a business you have to run. And if you don't want to do that in music, then that's fine. Then don't do it in music because you're going to have to do that stuff. And I see so many people who think they're so talented and they're this and this and that, but why doesn't anybody pay attention to me or do this or do that? I'm like, well, thinking to myself, I'm like, well, you're not doing any of the business. Like, you know, industry wants to work with people who are serious and who understand that there is a business behind that. It is not just about you writing one hit song. Look, maybe if you can, if that's possible, but you're a diamond in the rough at that point. So like, really you have to work your butt off like everyone else does, and you know, keep up with the admin stuff as well as like writing songs and doing all of that stuff. And it's not always fun, but that's the difference. And then also just song is king. Like you have to be at the best, you have to write the best songs of your life to, you know, have to be writing all the time. You have to be, that has to be your main priority after as well, like making sure that you're writing the best stuff you possibly can. And if the song isn't good enough, it just isn't good enough, and you just have to keep going.